And we are live. I think we are live anyway. I have just had an absolute nightmare getting this one set up for you guys here. Last 10, 15 minutes, trying to get that going. I've missed a lot of the start of this game. I've got it here though, and I've seen that it is a bit of an Aiden Schubert show. He's absolutely killing it at the moment. I'll jump into the chat and just get some feedback from you guys to make sure everything's working here, because I have no idea. But we have the stream up. I've just seen Mitch Marsh, one of South Australia's top kind of medium forward prospects. He's a guy that can definitely run through the midfield, get pretty high up the ground. He's kind of that hybridy forward mid type. He's just kicked a goal. And Aiden Schubert has been absolutely dominating from what I've seen so far. If anybody is on this stream, I had to delete the old one because I kind of made a mistake with some of the channeling that I was putting through. So if everyone at some point can make their way over to this new stream, let me know in the comments if everything's coming through okay. I'm just checking my audio here. I think we are all good. Just try to give me the thumbs up and then we'll kind of start doing the stream. Looks like a pretty good game so far. A bit unexpected with the score early with South Australia getting on top. I think that's Kellaway breaking away from the centre clearance there. Turns it over. But most people coming into this game would have been expecting the Allies to take it away pretty comfortably. I mean, like, they're a pretty stacked squad, albeit maybe there's a little bit of disbalance. Miller's just taken a mark here in the pocket. Crafty little small forward. So, yeah, I think the expectation for the Allies was that they would probably dominate South Australia based on talent. But also, you do have to remember things like with the Allies, the fact that they're a conglomeration of like Tassie, New South Wales, Queensland, NT. They don't get to train together as much as, say, the South Australian side would. So there could be a little bit of rust on the bones there as they sort of like get into the game. So I think if they can kind of hang around up until halftime as a team, then they'll probably do okay. Just going through the teams here as well. So some of the guys that I've got highlighted, we'll start with South Australia. Luke Candy, pretty good halfback distributor. He played in the under-17s futures game. Pretty impressed with his ball use. He's around 180 centimetres. So potentially like at that size, players are on some level probably struggling to get a gig at AFL level at like that 180 centimetre size. Like, teams are often opting for the hybridy types. You look at a Hawthorn, someone like that, with players like Weddle and Scrimshaw, these sort of medium types to go with their tools, and then they can play small. So he's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in the draft. I'm keen to see how he plays in this game. Back in the middle here. It's actually interesting how you kind of watch these games, because I feel when I watch under 18 footy, I'm sort of watching it a little bit different to how I watch AFL. So now kind of like doing this and doing the stream, it's going to be interesting for me to see how I actually go with kind of like commentating the game, discussing the game, and how that all fits into me, like looking at the players. Allies look like they're starting to get a little bit of control here. Who's this? Number 7. He's not on the team sheet, obviously. Who's on kicking duty here for South Australia? So that's Reichelt. So he's another. South Australia do have a number of these kind of smaller halfback types. There's Dalitz, who's a bit of a distributor as well. Reichelt, Candy. They've got plenty of guys that can kick the footy. I think for me, for South Australia, though, like the big one that I was really keen to see in this game, well, there's probably two. It's Mitch Marsh, and the other one is Schubert. As the ball goes inside 50 there. So that was another thing with these games, these like under 18 games, that you come in and like you've got to get equipped with all of the numbers of the players, because you're kind of used to watching them play for their like SANFL teams in this case, or Coates League for some of the guys from the Sydney and Queensland academies. And you kind of get lost because they've all changed numbers now and you got to get reacquainted with it. I usually pick up around halfway through the national champs. I'm like fully across the numbers. So who's got the ball at the moment? Oh, this is Mitch Marsh. We've got Mitch Marsh here. Set shot. He's nailed it. That was a pretty good mark there in the pocket from Marsh as well. He's really exciting. I feel in this draft for South Australia, like the big names are obviously probably Sam Cumming, Dyson Sharp coming into the season, but I feel like Schubert and Mitch Marsh could be those guys that actually press a little bit further as we go on into the season. Just the athleticism that they've got, the fact that they play those more key position roles often take a little bit more time to develop, obviously. So they could come hard. They could end up overtaking, I feel, some of those other kind of more, I suppose, like generic South Australian mids that are more highly rated. Another one in this game that I am kind of interested to see is Kellaway. I think he was really good in the trial match the other week. So good to see like what sort of a backup performance that he can put down. Just going through that ruck for South Australia. In and under there, that was... Who was that? That was Jack Cook in there. Bit of ball off half back here for the Allies. You like to see this run and gun. Here's Annabelle. Very highly rated prospect from the Brisbane Lions Academy, Annabelle. He looks a top 10 pick. I mean, again, like you talk about those midfielders, I think there's like a philosophical question around, do you want someone that has a little bit more bite? Whereas like with the top end pick that is, like Annabelle's very clean hands, very assured with the ball. He's good at winning it from stoppages and sort of creating for other players, but probably not the best player on the outside. Has a little bit of a POD in the fact that he's good overhead. He's coming. Cumming does move really well. He's a good athlete. Doesn't necessarily have, I wouldn't say like the best foot skills, but yeah, the way that he moves around it in congestion is really impressive. Get a stoppage over there. Noah Roberts-Thompson's another one for SA that's interesting. Number 10 he's wearing in this game. Are we looking out for him? Is that Schubert again? No, I don't think it was actually. I'll try to jump into the comments, see if we're getting anyone over here. Braden, good to see you in the comments. I'll have to watch the replay. How far do you expect Philippou to drop? That is a very interesting question. How far do you think his broken arm will affect? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's a good one. I mean, if you look at a player like Taj Houghton from last year, the fact that Houghton, what did he play? The first 3 games and then did a knee and we didn't see him again for the entire season. He still went, what was it, pick 13 or 14 in the end. So I don't think it necessarily cost you. I think in Jevon Philippou's situation though, the fact that he wasn't playing to the levels of say a Taj Houghton in the football that he played and didn't get that same exposure. Who was that just got away from stoppage there? Number 8 for the Allies. So yeah, I mean, I think I expect him to drop a little bit. Taj Houghton could have been pushing for like a top 3 spot and ended up 13 or 14, but it's still relatively high. I mean, he's going to get drafted, but maybe it means that he ends up 20 to 25. But the fact that he's only a broken arm as well, he might come back in pretty good shape. And then if he gets the back end of the national champs, plays some good sort of, finals SANFL footy in the back end of the year, I don't think it's kind of a deal breaker for him. Just want to find out who that was for the Allies. That was Kobe Coulson. So yeah, good mid. Had really good zip there out of that stoppage. I like that. You just like that sort of a move when like a mid can sort of take the ball out of the stoppage, pretty much just evade everyone, use their pace and agility to be able to get away like that. It's very eye-catching. And Coulson looks a serious player. I'll just do a little bit of a background on him. To be honest, these two teams are probably two that I know less about. Like obviously I'm more connected with like Vic Country, Vic Metro. Big grab there, Max King, I think it is. Big one on the line. This is what he can do. This is why he's so dangerous. Can play through the midfield. He's going to kick this goal. Oh yeah, he's missed it. I gave him the big props there and he missed it. And yeah, Kobe Coulson. So Suns Academy, 180 centimeters. July born. So he's put up some pretty good numbers, averaging 29 disposals actually at the Suns Academy at the moment. So he looks like a ripper. South Australia look pretty good at bringing the ball out of defence. Like I mentioned off the top there, they're rebounding defenders. They look solid in there. Here goes Sharp. See, that's my only thing with Sharp. Like when he's getting the ball outside the stoppage like that, yes, at stoppage situations, he's a threat because he's going to be able to get his hands on the ball first. He's got pretty good hands on the inside, like releases it to guys. But when you are in transition like that, I don't really see what weapon he gives you. Allies are having a few pings here. So what do we got? It's 11-point margin to SA. Back in the comments here. So Brackenbad says, where you go. Yeah, I had to change the stream. A bit of an error on my end. I was having some technical difficulties with some of the hardware. So I think everything is okay now. So just let me know how it goes. But some technical difficulties off the top. Had to change the stream over. I think people are slowly working their way over. If you do have any questions, I've got the chat up here, so let me know. Nice. Oh, I was going to say nice on the left there. Here's Harley Barker putting on some chase here. Harley Barker, his 20-meter sprint is something, I think it's under 2.9 seconds, so incredible there. But he's an interesting watch, like a tall sort of 187 centimeter winger with that athleticism, a good prospect. Probably needs to have a good national championships to really put him up into that sort of top 20, top 30 conversation though. Here he goes. Here's Barker. Chains up with Sharp. Good hit by Sharp there. So I just talked about maybe the lack of foot skills with Sharp. That was a good ball. Oh, Schubert, my boy. Get it, Schubert. Look at those ground level skills though. He's impressive. Like in this game so far already, like the ball comes in high. He just seems to get himself there. Quarter time here at Blacktown. So probably an unexpected start with South Australia getting off to putting 11 points on the Allies in the first quarter. As I said, those teams like Allies maybe take a little bit longer to kind of gel as a team because they're kind of coming from different states. They wouldn't get the same training exposure as what some of the other states would. So you kind of got to consider that. Got a few comments. Yes, the black screen. Again, for some reason, I'm having massive technical difficulties today. We had the AFL stream last night that I did on the True Footy channel. So we had all of that set up. We kind of had to do a quick setup this morning. So we had a pretty late night after that packing up, set up again this morning, and yeah, everything's kind of all over the place. So I'm working my way back into it. We've got 19 on the stream now, so that is very cool. Here are some stats that have just gone off the screen, and I can't read them to you, but I assume that they said that there's a bit of a dominance by South Australia so far. They've got an 11-point lead. I've liked the way that they've been able to move the ball from the back half of the ground, particularly. Some of those guys with the foot skills like Reichelt, like Candy, these types of players. They've got another one, don't they? Is it Gerlitz? The other one. So they kick the ball pretty well. They've got a good midfield in there with the likes of Kellaway, Cumming, Sharp, these types of players that can get their hands on the ball. They can get it in. And then when you've got that weaponry in the forward half of the ground, you've got Mitch Marsh, you've got Schubert up there to kick to. There is a fair bit of weaponry. They probably overall maybe don't have the high-end sort of small forwards. There's a guy that plays for, I think it's for the Woodville West Torrens, I want to say. I think it's the same team as Philippou plays for in the SANFL. It's Piker. I really like him. He's about 180 centimeters as a small forward. He's a good runner, good speed. Reminds me a little bit of an Ollie Hannaford from last year. So he has that sort of that really hard attack on the ball and applies a lot of pressure inside forward 50. I haven't really seen anything of him in this game, but he's one that I want to watch. Kai Broom says, King, you can see the potential, but man, he is very raw. Yeah, it's actually a really good question, kind of, again, like philosophically there with King, because there is a rawness to him. Like, he's not kind of going into the midfield at the moment for like whatever team he's playing for. If it's the Sydney Academy, if it's the national champs, like whatever it is, he's sort of just sitting as a resting forward at the moment. He has some like really exciting moments where you see the athleticism. You're not kind of seeing it consistently. Like maybe if you look at like the top picks of last year with what they showed, like Finn O'Sullivan, Sam Lawler, what they could do athletically, you kind of saw it consistently through games. Where not so much with Max King. So I think we've all probably, like most people that are doing content with the draft, even your Kautumis, like in the sort of mainstream media, like we've got him up pretty high in that mix because of the potential, but he is probably going to have to, show a little bit on field. Otherwise you're kind of buying into like complete speculation at the moment. But I mean, he's going to go to Sydney anyway, isn't he? So we don't really have to have that conversation. But it's a good point by Kai. Joel says, Schubert, great start. What's his bio? Yeah, so as I understand, he's around 197, 198 centimeters. A basketball background. That's something that I know about him. He's had a really, like the last few weeks, particularly that trial game was the most recent game that I saw him in. And he just looked really dangerous. Like a guy that's cat-like when the ball hits the ground. And you don't usually say that about someone that's that tall. There's probably a little bit of like an Aaron Cadman-ness to him in the sense that, I don't know, I feel like lately clubs more so have gone after those forwards. I've mentioned it with the rucks as well, but I think it is a little bit with key position players, tall players in general, where they've gone after those more heavier type builds. Like Jonty Fall last year, I kind of called him in the lead up to the draft a power forward. And I feel like that's kind of what clubs have looked for more than this Cadman athletic type so much. So he's more in that kind of zone where like he looks like a really good runner. He's really good when the ball hits the ground, but maybe teams in general aren't willing to pay like a top end pick for that type of player. They'd rather get that sort of real physical beast, like I said, with like a Jonty Fall, kind of going after almost like that, more of like a Hogan type. I know there's different sort of variables to that as well. Like I know Hogan and Fall aren't the same type. Hogan's more of that like really deep kind of key position forward, but definitely for Schubert, he's sort of like more that athletic type. Talls are always an interesting one. Like they're always, some of them do really well at junior level. Some take a long time to develop. Sometimes because of their extra athleticism, because of their extra height and that sort of thing, they can kind of dominate at this level too. So we'll kind of have to keep that in mind and sort of see how he goes like consistently up against like also some of the best defenders. 5 score involvements, most contested possessions. Yeah, I'm actually going to have to bring up the stats too here. Kai Broom, I think he'll probably be more in the 15 to 20 range rather than the 5 to 10 range. A lot of potential and also just more so hope of a midfielder based on the under 16 carnival. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And yeah, I don't disagree. I think he probably will go a little bit higher than that, Kai. Like I don't think he'll be 15 to 20, but maybe if I was being conservative now, I'd say more like 5 to 15 as opposed to like probably at some point early in the season. And we were basing this largely off potential, don't get me wrong, but that sort of top 5 is like maybe looking more and more out of the question. The second quarter about to get underway. I'm going to go in, I'll talk you through this, but I'm going to go into the match center and have a look at some of these stats, see what we're doing. This is not usually how I watch an under 18 game of football though. I usually like to watch it first and then check stats. But it does, like it changes the dynamic a little bit doing it on the live stream, of course, like talking through it and everything like that. It's a different sort of game. So I'll definitely go back and watch this game separate to this as well. But it's kind of cool to do it like this and we can sort of, everyone can get their questions in. We can kind of talk it through all together. That's Cook there out of the midfield. He's looked really good as well as a... Cook is like a mid defender, another one of those kind of halfback distributors. I feel like South Australia have so many halfback distributors that Cook has sort of gone into the midfield as depth, but he looks really good as well, really composed. That looks like Matt Leray. The first time I've seen him in this game, big bodied, tall, marking winger is Matt Leray. Good runner. He's a physical beast. He's another one of those guys, a bit like Dyson Sharp, where they look a lot of, like, I can't believe that he's only 17 or 18 years of age. Like, this guy looks like a man. Bringing up the stats. Let's have a look at this. I'm going to close. I've got so many tabs open, guys. Like, bear with me. It's been a morning. Joel says, big guy with a contest hunger. Sounds great. I think it's underrated if they can compete and the second effort is there, and that sounds great. By the way, I love your knowledge and presentations. Thanks for that, Joel. I really appreciate that. I think we're talking still about Schubert there, but yeah, 100%. Like, I think Max King, again, there, huge contested mark for King. That was awesome. Like, I love it when he does that, leaps at the ball. But on Schubert, like, and on the key position question, I feel like that is the, like, if there's one thing that you want in a key position forward, particularly, you just want them to be like an animal, right? You just, like, honestly want them to compete. They don't have to take contested marks. Like, you don't need 4 or 5 contested marks a game like you get from someone like a Jesse Hogan or a Sam Darcy even. You just really need a system player, and then if you can kind of build around them. I feel like that's why we have seen key position forwards in recent times drop a little bit. Teams aren't really willing. I don't think teams see them as important as they used to be. And when I say important, I mean being your match winner. Oh, this is Coulson again. That agility is scary. I love that. I've got to go back to him again. I've just got to double check. Yeah, that was Coulson, I'm pretty sure. He looks like an absolute weapon. Anybody loving the Coulson movement there? I thought that was awesome. Kai says, thoughts on Chamberlain? Feels like he's going to fall. Sorry about all the Swans questions. Yeah, I get that. I know you're a Swans fan, Kai. Draftees are the only fun thing for Swans for the rest of the year. That's true. You guys are in an absolute pear at the moment. Like, I don't know what is going on there. Obviously, the injuries are a big part of that as well. I like that fly there from Harley Barker. Oh. Taj Murray, I can hear lightly on the commentary. Taj Murray. Now, there's a player. Let's bring up his stats here. Taj Murray, 199 centimetres. He was an academy member. Watched him in those games. Really impressive. Like, you had that sort of array of tools, like Jasper Hay. Jasper Hay playing in this game too, as I understand. So I haven't seen much of him yet. Kalani White's another one. Taj Murray. They're all around that 200 centimetre mark. They're kind of forwards, but I don't think they're going to be... they're kind of rucks, I was going to say, but they're probably not going to be rucks at the AFL level. So to see Taj Murray go forward and kick goals, that's what he's going to have to do. February born, 07. What's he done for Northern Territory this season? Just having a look. 11 disposals. So obviously that's him going forward a little bit more. His previous season, he actually averaged more disposals than that. So probably playing more as a predominant ruck where he's able to find the footy around the ground. Allies going, oh! Is that him again? That is the Muzzinator. Murray, 2 from 2 here. This could be massive. A massive moment for him. He just looked too tall there for the South Australian defender. Who's that? That's number 31. So that's got to be Noah Dorr. Yep. Noah Dorr. He's a big boy too. Like, and Taj Murray towering over him. He'd be like 194, I reckon. Dorr. It's too much reach there from Taj Murray. He's got it. Coming back. We've got a game. 28 plays 27. Taj Murray, the big ruck forward, is on fire from Northern Territory. I love that. Awesome stuff. Breakout footy. Dylan, no days off, Alexander. Yeah, it feels like that at the moment. I had an absolute mare though, Jack. Jack from Breakout Footy, go and check out his channel. I had a mare this morning. Like, the stream just wasn't happening for me. It actually turns out, like, in my investigation with the stream, I've got like an A10 Mini, which is like a video switcher, and I actually just had the wrong channel the whole time. So it was like a really easy fix, but I had cables and stuff going everywhere and I was changing things over. So it turned into a little bit of a mess. And I'm still, as we go, I'm still kind of like getting things like I'm trying to get the chat on one screen and like the stats and stuff on another so I can kind of talk it through. But I'm excited about this game. Like I'm really happy for Taj Murray. He's gone into the ruck now, so get him in there. That's pretty much what they're doing. Big ruck there for SA. What's his name again? I don't know too much about him. That must be Sam Ainsworth. Sammy Ainsworth. I don't know too much about him. Oh, poise from Annabelle there. Oh, no, that was Carmichael, actually, that came out of defence. Gave it to Annabelle. Bo Adensil. He's another one that we haven't talked about, Bo Adensil. I feel like he's kind of the odd one out, or the guy that gets left out in that Gold Coast Suns academy conversation, because you've got, I'm trying to go through them now. You've got Yuland, not in this game, will be playing for the Allies at some point, I believe. He's had a back injury, stress fracture. Yuland's like the top end guy, like top 3 in the draft. And then you've obviously got Dylan Patterson, who's just found the footy right now, like on call. Look at that. Like that's classy. I feel he could play, like Dylan Patterson, he could play anywhere. Like I just love that. So you've got Patterson, and then Adensil's kind of this forgotten guy. And there's even a sense, I feel, for the Gold Coast Academy that they're not going to, like they're not going to take him if they don't have the draft capital to be able to do it. And just going into the comments here, Kai, I had a horrific time with a stream because I hadn't had audio transformer open. No audio for a while. Yeah, it happens all the time. Like I feel like with those kind of things, it's happening to me less the more I'm doing it. But also, like as you get obviously busy, you're doing more videos and stuff like that. It gets you sometimes because you probably get into a false sense of security. You feel like it'll be fine, like it's just another stream, and then that's the time when it gets you as well. But yeah, Adensil, a really, really good player, a really good mid, and someone that's just kind of getting forgotten about. There goes Schubert again, the big hands, gets it off to Kellaway, and beautiful. How did he get so much separation there? Wow. Again, I want to know like who's defending him. Did he just let him go, or was he just too explosive off the mark? Can somebody ID that defender for me from Allies? Because I cannot see him. Who is playing on Mitch Marsh? Let me know. This game's good. This is really like end-to-end stuff. No, he's dragged it, I think. No, he's got it. Nice left foot kick. This guy's high end. Like this, the potential of Mitch Marsh, we could be post-national champs. If it goes well enough for him, we could be talking about a top, we'll be conservative and say top 15 pick if everything goes well for him. These stats. So major ball winners to start. My boy, number 8 for the Allies, Kobe Coulson. He has been super impressive. He's had 10 disposals, the most on the ground. Jet Dulles for South Australia. I mentioned the halfback flankers getting involved a lot. He's had 9, and Dylan Patterson's had 8. See, I thought Dylan Patterson was wearing number 7 for before. Have I mis-ID'd somebody there? He's number 20. He's listed as number 23 here on the AFL app. That's interesting. Mids at the moment for the Allies, it's Taj Murray in the ruck. Adensil. I see Coulson and I see Annabelle. Starstruck. Like that's a midfield. Like they're going to win most of the clearances, I imagine. Kicks it forward there. There goes King. Doing that sort of stuff, King. Like if he can win the ball at ground level like that, and then we've already seen what he can do aerial. He's taken a couple of contested marks. That's massive. Annabelle is clean. Miller. Oh, that was a nice little pop. Jack Miller. I don't know too much about Jack Miller. Apparently he's also a race car driver. Oh, he's Tassie Devils. That's right. Yeah. No, he had a big game recently, actually. I want to say against the Calder Cannons, he had did he have a bag of 5? Oh, that's Harrison Bridge. He is very good too. Let's talk about Harrison Bridge for a second. So what's his numbers in this game so far? I haven't called his name much, or I haven't seen him much, but he has unbelievable speed, great on the outside, great foot skills. You just kind of saw there where he came inside, used that left foot. He's kind of got he's one of those guys too that he can pull off different types of kicks. As on cue, he turns the ball over, but he bites off the more difficult kicks. Very outside type, but someone that's very suited to me to the modern game. I think if he was, rather than being 180, if he was 185, I think that would really help him, because then he'd probably have that a little bit more aerial presence as well. And I feel for those athletic wingers, having that kind of overhead ability to be able to push forward in the modern game, test the opposition on transition. Look at somebody like an Ollie Dempsey. He's got that elite aerial ability, and that just helps the Cats so much on transition. There's Murray at ground level, really good. Ugh. Oh, that was Chamberlain. Oh, you mentioned that before, actually, Kai. You were talking about Chamberlain and the possibility that he drops a little bit. I could see that a little bit. I feel like just a third tall type. I suppose you could say that he's not a third tall. He could be a sort of genuine key position, but yeah, I don't know. He's not a dominant key. He definitely doesn't look like a midfield type to me that could come through and push through the midfield. So he's a little bit very auxiliary position, I think, in modern football, just that pure third tall. Teams definitely opting for the more, I don't know, putting a premium as far as capital on the small ball types. Is that Sharp push forward? Outside of the boot. Oh, it's actually going to work out all right for Barker. Did he mean that? That was a beautiful kick if he meant it. That had shades. That outside of the boot kick that had shades of Josh Rochelle last night in the AFL game. That little flick that he did out into the path of, was it Peatling? I can't remember who it was in front of, but that was outrageous. Nice little ball. Thoughts on Harry Kyle? Seems like he is taking a backseat lockdown role in this game, but for Swans Academy, he was having 20 plus touches off half back. Probably not a name you've looked into much. Yeah, honestly, Harry Kyle, I haven't. And it is, with these academy players, it's hard because they don't play week in, week out in the talent league either. So they have a little run where they've played a few games. And I've had an eye on those bigger names for them, I suppose, your Carmichaels, your Chamberlains and your Kings, but haven't seen all of that. Unless there's a really, really high-end performance, I haven't seen too much of it. But yeah, he definitely hasn't been someone in the fray much in this game. Who's number 23 for South Australia? I see that 23 and I instantly think Sam Cumming, but he's in the 16. Let's have a look. 23. Oh, that's Blake Odshin Benefer. I'm probably annihilating the pronunciation of that. He looked good in the trial game too, as a taller sort of a midfielder. There's Barker. He gets around Barker. He's kicked another one. That's 2 for Barker in a couple of minutes as well. He's trying to outdo Taj Murray, who got the Allies back into the game, and now South Australia have steadied. It's an interesting one there with Barker because he never does anything, you watch him play and he never does anything absolutely outrageous. You don't get kind of wowed when he's weaving in and out of traffic or anything at stoppage, but he's clearly really quick. I mentioned his 20-meter sprint before being sub 2.9, and he's a really good endurance runner as well. So he's just working you over constantly, and you've seen there he's kind of just popped up in an advantageous position and just been able to kick a goal. So he's an interesting one. I don't think he'll be right in that top end of the draft, but he could be a sneaky good pick for sure. How are our numbers going now? Schubert's in the ruck now, so that's that like dual position for him. I think that's Sam Cumming down there in the forward line. So South Australia clearly trying to... Oh, it's Piker, my boy. On the left, yes! Piker, my boy. He's the one that I compared before to Ollie Hannaford. A small forward, good athleticism, like really good pace, good agility, and just a bit of an animal, like just a bit of a bastard, loves to tackle people, loves to put pressure on. And you saw there when he does get the ball, and there's a lot of congestion around that too. Like he picked up the ball there under pressure and he was able to execute there on the left foot. So, and we've also seen in that same passage of play, Schubert attended that centre clearance and then took the mark inside forward 50. So clearly like the work rate's there to get directly up the ground. So awesome play there by Schubert. Awesome play by South Australia. And this is getting away a little bit. What's that, 22 points now? Allies probably need a steadier here. Just keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, he's a hard one to put into the position for sure. Agree with that, Kai. What can we have a look at? Goals. So Schubert has kicked 3 goals. Mitchell Marsh has kicked 3 goals. And in a lot of ways, that's probably the difference in the game, isn't it? Like they've just had that elite presence in the air. It's been like, it's not as if those guys have taken big contested marks consistently either though. Like they've been able to get space, get separation. It's often been out of centre clearance. But then they have transitioned the ball. They've just been able to get separation consistently. Miller's looks pretty good. Bit sloppy there from Bridge. I sometimes confuse when they get the footy, Carmichael and Annabelle. I was about to say Annabelle again there for Carmichael. I'm going to bring the chat up here. What are we thinking, guys? Like, let me know in the chat about what were your expectations coming into this game? Like, did you think that Allies would have a slow start? Did you think that they would probably get on top of South Australia? Just the more talent factor would overwhelm? What were your tips and what do you think now? Jesus, Messi in there. I'm going to bring this up. Kai says, I know it's early into the draft cycle, but theoretically, if Sydney got a first before the King bid, where would they go? Feels like someone like Onley would be up there for them. Hang on, I know it's early in the draft cycle, but theoretically, if Sydney got a first... Oh, King. And Kai's actually said that King is on ball at the moment. So was he at that previous stoppage? I got a bit sidetracked there for a second. Let me know on that one. He needs to kick this, King. This is big. I feel like this is a psychological kick as well, more than anything. When you're 4 goals down, it is early. There's time, but he does need to steady this. Oh, he looks good. Oh, he's at the post. Max. That would have been a really nice passage, a really nice moment for him. Unlucky though, just missed. Got the contested clearance at the stoppage, 70 out from goal, and then got the mark inside 50. I mean, that's very Isaac Heaney, isn't it? And I know there's going to be that comparison made about Max King with the traits that he has, with the size that he has, but yeah, to be able to like win a stoppage, a little bit. I mean, Schubert in a different way. Oh, who took that contested mark? That's a biggie. That's one of the key backs for the Allies. Haven't got an ID on him at the moment. Poor kick, though. Tried to change some angles. Just didn't get that right. Looks like... Is that Murray back there for the Allies? They might have changed things up a little bit there. And that is Sam Cumming. And this is definitely a feature of his game as well. Can play through the midfield. Can play out wide. Again, just brimming with athleticism, brimming with run. He's got speed. And again, there he gets away from his direct opponent. who's probably just a little bit outclassed by him. And I think he's another really interesting one in the draft puzzle. Is he top 20? Is he outside of that? I feel like he's a very functional player, someone that just gets the job done consistently. That's not ideal after I just gave him a huge wrap. So Max King, 0 goals, 2. This looks like Patterson here. So playing at half back, I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit of time on ball. Like I get it from the coaches because they've got so many mids in there with, you know, the likes of Adensil and Annabelle and these types. But yeah, like a Patterson, like he's just such a high-end talent. Again, I know like he's a Gold Coast Academy player, so it's not like he really needs to kind of show anyone anything. If anything, that's going to put his value up, and it's not good for the Suns. Allies go coast to coast here. That was beautiful play, how they switched it out through Patterson, got it out to Carmichael, who then came back inside, just pretty much had the South Australian defenders there, or the team defence anyway, just moved it, shifted it, and then found a target inside forward 50. And this would be lining up for goal. They've made some changes here. Oh, Riley Hamilton this is. Okay. So I haven't called his name too much either. His stat sheet is he's had 4 disposals. He's kicked a goal. Is that the goal that he's about to kick now? Or would this be number 2? Looks good, looks good. I like it. We want a close game here. We absolutely want a close game. And if we go back to the game that these two teams played last year, I'm not going to get that here in the match center right now, but it was pretty close from memory. I remember it was game 1 as well. So this is 2 years in a row now that South Australia have faced the Allies in the first game of the national champs. And it was a great game. The Allies sort of had them early from memory. South Australia came back. It was a Tyler Welsh masterclass, I think in the 3rd or 4th quarter. He just caught fire. As he did, like he did a lot in the national champs, Tyler Welsh last year. Just big moments, was able to kick goals. Currently on the Adelaide list, so good luck to him as well. Mid's in there at the moment. Kellaway's gone in. The traditional ruck in for South Australia. I forget his name. Looks like Taj Murray in for the Allies. Dyson Sharp's in there. And Miller again. Miller's been really, really composed like around the stoppages. Like certainly hasn't like not been getting out the front or anything, but just been like on the sort of back end of the stoppage. Like look at him there, just in and out of tackles. And he can kick goals as well. So he's absolutely a threat. Let's have a look at these disposals. So Darlitz is the top disposal getter from half back for South Australia. Oh, that's a free kick, surely. There's another player that just popped up there, Jim Kelly. Like, I feel he's a small forward, Jim Kelly. I haven't seen too much of him, but... That was Schubert again that went up. Both that time, he and Mitch Marsh actually sort of collided. Went for the same ball. Like, that's going to happen a lot. Number 30. Oh, that was Chamberlain. Here we go. Good ball movement here from the Allies. I reckon they got about 25 seconds here in the second quarter. Who we got? Who's lurking? Ooh, defence looks a bit at sea for South Australia. Yeah, there hasn't been, like, the defence in this game so far, like, hasn't fully been there, has it? Like, they've been able to kind of move the ball pretty quickly, go from coast to coast. So I'll have to look a little bit more closely at some of these matchups for the keys, for sure. They've been able to get off the chain. There goes the siren. That is half time. So what have we got here? We've got a 11 and 4, 15-point margin to South Australia. I'd say somewhat unexpected. 129 disposals to 139 in favour of South Australia. 65 kicks to 83. We won't go through the handballs. Allies are handballing a little bit more though, which kind of shows the styles. 32 marks to SA, and they just moved those stats away too quickly for me to get over, but I guess I can go into the app here. 23 inside 50s to the Allies to 19, so probably shows you, are they going to give us the stoppage? Yeah, they are actually. So 18 clearances to South Australia to 10 for the Allies, yet 23 inside 50s to 19, so that's really interesting. I would expect usually if I was watching an AFL game, if I saw a big stoppage discrepancy in favour of one team and then they were losing inside 50s, they'd be losing the game. In this case, South Australia are not. So they've got worse field position. They're winning stoppage and clearly not getting the field position from that stoppage, but yet they're winning the game. So I imagine without having the stats for that, they've been pretty clinical in front of goal when they've got opportunities, and 8 goals 3 to 5 goals 6, I suppose, like 11 scoring shots apiece. They've just been able to be more clinical in the moments. And they have had some of those goals, like the two from Harley Barker, where just created a bit of space over the back, like transition goals, those halfbacks have got involved and that sort of thing. So it's interesting. Joel Falconer says, Allies game style seems a lot more AFL-like and is enjoyable to watch. I agree with you, particularly how they just started to move the ball, maybe not early in the game, but in that last sort of 10 minutes of that second quarter there, they were like really hitting off those like 45-degree kicks a lot, changing the angles. And then at this level, when the team that's, you know, in under 18 football compared to AFL, like teams don't defend the ground as well. Like there's just not as much of a premium on defense, I guess, because the stakes aren't as high. Like you're not, it's partly, you know, it's education, but it's also like you're not really defending for your lives necessarily, I suppose, where like the wins and losses are more important in AFL footy, of course. So that's like South Australia, when they've done that well, the Allies offensively, when they've like changed direction, changed angles and been able to kind of move the defense, South Australia have really struggled with that. But at the same time, I feel like when like South Australia have won, and we look at that clearance differential, 18 to 11 or 18 to 10, whatever it was, South Australia have had some of those really quick breaks, particularly from centre clearance, where they sort of get out the front. And then players like Mitch Marsh and Schubert, like they're able to get a lot of separation on their opponents, like their defenders, whether they're kind of just playing them too far from behind and giving them that space to run into, but it looks very open. Obviously, you got the 6-6-6 in that environment as well. So it is an interesting one. Joel's back in. Those few moments in that quarter by Murray makes me think he is 100 on an AFL list. 100%, I assume you mean? Yeah, for sure. Like he looks really good. He looks really good. And the only thing, the only thing I'll say with that, Joel, I like him, but with Taj Murray, is there like potentially like a little bit of the Floyd Burmeister effect? I'm not saying that they're the same player in any right. And I think they're doing the right thing here with Taj Murray, that he's playing as a key position forward. And I think that's got to be his bread and butter here, because these guys that are athletic and go through the ruck, teams aren't going to see these like skinnier, like Taj and Floyd Burmeister, and even Schubert probably fits into this as well. So I'm just going to cough. I don't think they're going to be seen by clubs as number one rucks. They're going to be seen as forwards that can play in the ruck. So if they don't get the output and show what they can do inside the forward 50, they're just kind of these like skinny sort of project players. So they're gonna have to put down performances. I feel like that plagued Floyd Burmeister all of last year, and even this mid-season draft, like not getting picked up. Like he's sort of this talented, athletic ruck that has upside, ambiguous upside, that teams just, it doesn't feel like teams are wanting to buy that anymore. And that skinnier type player that could be good in, 4 or 5 years after he hits the gym, there's kind of less of a premium on those players. I feel like they used to get drafted a lot. It's like, look how athletic he is. And they need to see a little bit more now, I feel. Lachlan Callender says, how has Kalani White been tracking? What's his draft range and where do you see him playing at the next level? So Kalani White, very similar to what I'm saying about the Taj Murrays and the Aiden Schuberts. Like he'll need to have another, like he can't be a ruck, which he for me, kind of came into the season as a ruck. And I guess that's partly also because his dad was a ruck too. So everyone just assumes he's going to be a ruck. I don't think he can be a ruck. I think he's 199 centimeters. But he's just not big enough in the body compared to like the prototypical AFL ruckman at the moment. So he'll need to play as a something else. And whether that's, I think for me, Kalani White's his highest draft range or best strategy in that sense is to be a key position defender. For me, as far as his draft range, 30 to 40, I would say. 30 to 40. And that's as a key defender. So this national championships will be pretty big for him. Given that we're watching this on a stream, it's hard to figure out exactly who he's playing on at the moment. If anyone's sort of clocked that, if there's been a matchup that's sort of been consistent there, they do like to flick them around a little bit, but it's always good if Kalani White's consistently playing on someone, you can look at their goal input, you can look at the way that they're kicking goals and kind of get an idea of, if he's able to keep up with him with foot speed, if it's Mitch Marsh, if it's Schubert, you know what I mean? The way that they're kicking their goals kind of says something about how they're being defended as well. Joel, again, I liked his below-the-knee efforts, most project ruckman for me. 40 to 50 pick at what? Yeah, for sure. Like I think in that range, it's definitely a possibility. And I mentioned Floyd Burmeister, but that was a really strong draft too, with a lot of depth. So you were giving up more to take a prod on a player like that. But I feel like with those key position forwards, and this is like, I don't think everyone would agree with me, like all recruiters would agree with this, but I think there is a sense that your keys now, like I talked about the size and like imagine, okay, like let's do an analogy here of a midfielder. And you've kind of got those skinnier, sort of leaner midfielders, and like you can probably carry one of those, but like your smaller, leaner midfielders, they tend to be like more loose ball players, right? And then your bigger bodied midfielders tend to be your sort of hard ball players. So they're close physical pressure consistently, and then they use their strength. I feel AFL clubs now want their key position forwards to be that bigger bodied, either as a direct marking target or someone that brings the ball to ground and then can protect to the ball and then can get it out to the likes of your smalls, which are just everywhere now. So there's like 4, 5, 6 small forwards in a team, probably 4 playing at once around like 2 key position forwards, and they just want mosquito fleet. They just want high energy, high dynamism at the ground level, and then they can do all the crafty work. So I feel like in a way, there's almost less, what's the word for it? Like there's less different outputs that a key position forward needs. Like they don't really need to be as good at ground level anymore. I feel like they need to be a physical beast. And when I look at this draft, the one that probably fits that mold for me the most at the moment is like a Cody Curtin. And I need to see more of him play through this national champs, but he looks like that type of player to me, the kind of stand and deliver guy. You've still got to be able to run. You've still got to be able to move for sure. And there's still different types within this, but he's somewhat of the modern day forward, I feel, in that manner. And then you just have the ground level players around him. His ground level stuff doesn't really necessarily need to be there as much. You still want him to compete at ground level, and he's got to be able to hold off that physical threat as well. The change in ruck rules may have affected these smaller body players. You're right. Yeah, that's it. And this is something that's spoken about. It's that change. Ruck craft used to be two rucks would basically go in and they would run at each other and they would jump. So being very athletic, having that vertical leap gave you a massive advantage. And then you would work on your ruck technique, which was, out of the back of the hand and all these different sorts of taps to get it. And there were more like set plays at stoppage. And then the ruck rule changed, which made it more of almost like a military contest. It was very combative, very close. You're basically like 2 heavy guys trying to protect space, and then just hitting it to a contest in the midfield. So you're just hitting it to 2 players. And generally like a ruck now, like say a Tristan Sherry wins a hit out, he's basically directing it to the matchup that he thinks is advantageous for his team. So like whether that's LDU, whether it's Sheasel, if he thinks he can win the one-on-one on who he's got, he'll hit it to their advantage, slightly, but then they've kind of got to do the rest. So I think more comes on your midfielders now than it ever did to be able to win those contested possession, win those one-on-ones for me. But it is that change in ruck rules, and it's taken away those very athletic types. Like I said, a Floyd Burmeister. Just looking at the body type, like a Taj Murray for me kind of slightly fits that as well. But there's definitely different avenues for those guys to go as well. Number 5 for the Allies seems like a very pure midfielder with decent skills, like a Matt Crouch. Patterson seems to have very good skills in decision-making. Would like to see him rotate through the centre. Totally agree. I totally agree on Dylan Patterson. Like, I want to have a look at his numbers. Playing off halfback, I just want to see him, because I watch him like through the academy games he was playing off halfback. I just want to have a look, because when he's got the space around him at halfback, he's like the pace, you can just see it there. He's got so much ground in front of him that he can take, and he's got speed, he's got agility. You see all of that. And you said there his decision-making is incredible as well. So I just want to see it like up the field a little bit, where you put under a little bit more pressure. You're obviously going to get a worse disposal efficiency. You're going to like make some mistakes, but I kind of just want to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see him under that pressure. Put him under the pressure. Who was the other one that you mentioned there? Number 5 for the Allies. Yeah, that's Bo Adensil. So 100%. Very composed. He's just like a Rolls Royce type midfielder, isn't he? Like, he's 180 centimeters. He's not particularly quick or anything like that, but just moves really well. Like, you could mount an argument that he's not as Rolls Royce as this, but like a bit of a Hugh McCluggage type. There's a little bit of oomph there. That might be over egging it a little bit too much though. But yeah, he's very nice on the eye, moves well, and makes good decisions. So I 100% agree with that. But he does feel like, because of Hewland, because of Patterson, in that Gold Coast Academy, he's kind of become like the odd one out. And yeah, I've even heard people say like, he could be the one that, if they don't get the points, if they're not able to like accumulate the points to be able to get these guys, that he'll be the one. Bo Adensil will be the one that they miss out on. What else do we have, Jolyon? Come off a wing, yeah, for sure. Coaches panel, great analysis, mate. As always, thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Love your work as well. I hope your fantasy team and your Supercoach team are doing well. Actually, on that, I mean, I know this is completely off topic, but my fantasy team, like the last couple of weeks, because I've been busy doing this stuff, at the beginning of the season, I was all keen for it, and I was making sure that I was doing my trades and everything. And I've just been like, the last couple of weeks have just been so busy with the mid-season draft and everything, and like doing a couple of different jobs and stuff, and then doing the live streams, doing the draft, going to games at the weekends. Like, I just haven't had time to think. And this week I didn't even make a trade. So I had 3 trades to make. This was a time that you really should be pouncing. I got as high early in the season. I got as high as 700 rank. I reckon that was around round 5 or 6. And then pretty much since then, it has all gone downhill. Like, I missed Nick Martin, Zach Merritt that week. They absolutely popped off. Like, I think that was last week. So let me know, anyone. Does anyone else play fantasy? Does anybody else follow the draft because they want information on fantasy? Because I feel like this is a big part of it. I've done a bit of content with the coaches panel as well. Great channel for fantasy information. But yeah, we look at that stuff as well. And which draftees, talking about Adensil, talking about Annabelle, they are definitely fantasy relevant. Even Patterson, I think, who's probably more likely to actually get a spot in that Gold Coast side going forward. Grittio, how is Sam Cumming tracking? Sam Cumming is tracking well. I'll just bring up his numbers. What I've liked about Sam Cumming's game is he's played a little bit through the midfield. Like, he's so versatile, and that's big, because when you're looking at the developmental part of the game, you're looking at clubs, like where they're going to bring these guys in to be able to play early so that they can, come in and play AFL games. Good example of this would be like Riley Sanders in his first year, didn't really get much of a game as a pure midfielder. Who's one from this year? Probably Sid Draper, actually, which should be right in your alleyway, Gridio. I know you love the Crows. But yeah, Draper, pure mid. You can't sort of break into that team because of that. I feel like if he had a bit more flexibility, he'd be able to play as like a forward or, off half back if he was a really good kick. Sam Cumming has that versatility, and I think that's a big weapon. He's played in the midfield, he's played on the wing, he's pushed forward. He can take overhead marks. So he's got that aerial ability, but he's got the ground level skills to play like as a mid as well. So he's kind of he ticks every box. I'd say if there's like one thing that like why he's not maybe in that like top 10 conversation is like maybe he's like master of none, if that makes sense. Like he's not better at anything than anyone, but he does everything. But that doesn't mean that he does those, like that's kind of sounds like he does those things bad, like, but he's quite good. Like he's in that sort of top echelon of those things as well. So yeah, very, very good player. I want to see him through this national champs. Like this, as I've said in a lot of my content, allies are coming back onto the ground now. A lot of my content, I've talked about it, like the champs, and this isn't just for me, like this is for recruiters as well. Like it's everything. They have games in the SANFL, they have school footy games. There's players in those games that make them stand out because like the quality at the bottom end of the team is not as good. So when you're watching it, there's difficulty in trying to like, okay, is he actually, you know, is that athleticism that I'm seeing? Is that movement? Is the skill that I'm seeing reflective at the top level? Or am I just seeing this against like weaker opposition? And you get that even at VFL level. Like I think a lot of people in the AFL community look at like, oh, someone performed really well at VFL level or waffle level or whatever, if they're playing seniors, and they say like, oh, well, he had 20 at VFL, so like he can play AFL. But these guys are better athletes than VFL players, right? So when they actually come up in the national champs and they play against like types, this is the best of the best. Like this is the best in their draft crop. So this is everything. Do you reckon the Crows get him? Oh, hang on. I've missed one from Joel Faulkner. I'm putting a bolter label on Schubert. Love it, mate. I love it. And if you've watched any of my content, I like to go early. Like if I've seen something, I've seen it. I generally don't have to see it again. I'd be happy to do that already. And I watched the trial game twice, yesterday and like earlier in the week, and I thought he was awesome in that. And again, you go like, okay, I want to see it at the national champs. We're kind of seeing it, aren't we? So he's been absolutely awesome. Do I reckon the Crows get Sam Cumming? Where are the Crows picks? That's probably what I'd have to say. Gritio, you'd know that. What are their picks? Adelaide draft picks. Did they get somebody's future first last year? AFL draft order. Help me out, Gritio. Here we go. So they've got... Doesn't look like they've got anyone's picks in the first round. So currently they've got pick 16. That would be... I'd have thought that would be about his range. Somewhere from 15. I don't think he'd be above 15. I don't think he'd be... He could be like 25. So somewhere in there. So you could take him if you wanted him for sure. The question would be, Gritio, would you take Dyson Sharp if he was available at that pick? That's the question there for me, I think. Barnes says, where do you have Dyson Sharp ranked in this draft right now? I know a lot of Richmond fans like him, but I'm not the biggest fan due to his athleticism. Yeah. So if you've kind of followed some of the mocks that I've done, like I post it on Instagram usually and do a video with a mock draft, but I've sort of talked about him and even like on some level his development, and I talk to people, like I talk to people about where he was in under 16s. I don't watch under 16 footy, so full disclosure there, but he's been considered the best player in this crop all the way through. And I watch the way that he plays, and I think his game relies heavily on his strength and his size. So I feel he's limited to being a stoppage player that facilitates for other players, first and foremost. I don't think he offers much on the outside. Like his kicking's not great. I even think like there's better players in the draft for like pure kind of stoppage craft and contest work than Sharp. But he's got that physical size, so he can push people around. He can like protect space. He's got that. I just don't see him. I see him as one of those players kind of that's dominated earlier as he was younger, and the gap's closing really fast, and then you start to see the skills at this level, and you go, okay. That being said, like he's had a pretty good game today. he gets big numbers. He consistently gets big numbers. But I would have, like, to answer your question, I guess, like, where would I have him in my crop? I'm still working on a spreadsheet to be able to do this a little bit better this year, but I'd have him 15 to 20, I think, as he gets the ball first possession from the midfield, gets on the move and gets it out. He goes Barker again. We're underway. But yeah, 15 to 20 for me. So he'd be in that range, like similar to Sam Cumming that I mentioned with Gridio there before. Like, so Adelaide could have a choice to make about the homegrown talent for sure. Charlie Smith, Taj Murray going top 10. I don't think so. No, like we talked about him before. Like he's definitely not that high, but he's having a really good game. We spoke about before he's that sort of like really lean, kind of beanpole-y, skinny type ruck forward at the moment. And that's been a bit of a tough position or tough player to draft in recent times. I think they've gone for physical size, like mass, a little bit more in that position. So he'll have to nail down one of those positions before. But I'd probably say he's outside the top 30 for me at this stage, but having a very good game today for sure. Is the AFL app the only way to watch? I believe so. That's how I'm watching it. Annabelle goes inside 50 here, or straight over the head of Murray. Well done by... Is that Dor? What's his name again? He's got me every time. Yeah, that's Dor. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I think it's the only way to watch it. I'm watching the game on the AFL app for sure. South Australia are moving the ball really well here. Sharp gets involved, and Mitch Marsh on the end of that. Again, he gets separation. I feel that, like, just what I've watched from this game so far, his first couple of steps must be really, really quick because he just keeps getting the ball. Like, if you watch Schubert hasn't been doing that as much. Schubert's been clunking, like, contested grabs. He's getting on the move. Like, he's playing more as, like, a hit-up. Looks like he still can take a contested mark, so he's got that in the locker. But did he get it? Oh, he's got it. That's 4 goals for Mitch Marsh. Like, wow. Yeah, we could... I feel Mitch Marsh, we could be talking top 10 at some stage pretty soon. I'll try and answer some of these as we go back to the middle. Dyson Sharp has not made me jump on board yet. Good, but nothing stands out. Yeah, I'm probably in the same place, Joel, like, to be honest. He's just a big-bodied mid at the moment. I think there's a couple like that in this draft, like Riley Onley's another. They're getting big numbers, but I'm not there with the overall quality. Like, I think, like, sometimes too, you've got to, like, strip back the size and go, if he was 180, would I be saying the same thing about his skills to try to, like, put it up against someone? Obviously the size matters when you're doing it in totality, but yeah. He's going to get it again, though. He's looking pretty dangerous at stoppage at the moment. Is that Kellaway? Oh, good tackling there. The Allies have sort of stepped up the pressure a bit. I think that's Candy off the back of the stoppage. Good ball. Like, he's a nice kick, Candy. Ugh. I think that's Kelly for South Australia down there. Probably could have done better there in that contest. My boy Bridge. There's Adensil. You just see that ability with Adensil there. He picks up the ball. He got tackled in the end, but, like, he doesn't rush the decision if it doesn't have to be a quick decision. Like, he can kind of take his time on the ball. Very poised. Yeah, I think Sid is suffering just because the Crows want to pump games into him. Yeah, it does. It does feel a little bit like that with Sid Draper. Like, I'd almost feel he's a sub pretty much every other week, isn't he? So you kind of go, is that actually helping his development? Don't know. It's sort of like, I don't know. It's weird, the sub rule. Like, it shouldn't be like this, but for some reason in AFL, the sub rule feels like it's like dehumanizing or something. Like, you kind of, like, the camera pans to the guy that's a sub and they're sort of like sitting over there with like a tracksuit top on. Like, it's a bit weird. Whereas it's like a normal thing in different sports to be like that super sub. Maybe they should have more subs. Maybe instead of having 1 sub, there should be like 3 subs. So it's like we actually use them more tactically. I don't know. I don't really like the sub. Philippu's draft range. What is Philippu's draft range? Interesting. I think you asked the question off the top about, like, does he slide? I think it's ultimately going to come down to how much national champs he plays. Like, I really rate him. Because he's got that like speed and endurance. He's good aerially. Like, he's got a lot of. He's a Swiss Army knife of a midfielder. He can jump to that improves his reach at stoppages and stuff like that. He's not like, he's got work to do, I feel. He goes Max King. He's got work to do on some of the stuff at stoppage, but when he gets the ball out in space, like, big transition player, like, he's dangerous. He's got beautiful foot skills, kicks off both. Just some of the inside stuff I think he needs to improve, but he's a high potential, high upside player for sure. Answer your question. I'll say 10 to 15 at the moment. 10 to 15. That's where I'd put him. Is Schubert and Marsh undersized? Well, Schubert's not. Let me do a height check on Schubert. Looks like King getting involved. I don't want to miss too much while I do this. Aiden Schubert. He's listed at 194 on Rookie Me, but I think he's taller than that. Let's have a look at SANFL. Do they have a... The commentary said earlier he's 198. In my head, he was 197, and I can't remember where I heard that. But I think that height's fine. It's not... It's definitely... I mean, you look at like the defenders that are kicking around the AFL at the moment. It's not like... Okay, mate, yeah, he's not a monster, but even at 194, I think that's fine. I wouldn't say he's undersized. Mitch Marsh is a different story. Look at Adensil. He's really impressed me in this game. He's going to get it again. Look at the hands. Like, that's impressive. Yeah, he's very smooth. Oh, Bridge. Bridge is down. Harrison Bridge is injured for the Allies. That is not good. Marsh. So is Marsh undersized? Yeah, he is. So he's more of that hybrid, tall hybrid, essentially, I would call him, where he's like, he can play small, he can play tall. And we've seen that in this game. So he's played as like a hit-up forward, really, in this. He's got separation. I think for Marsh, his like draft potential relies on midfield time, I would say. Like, if he can sort of come into the midfield and play a little bit in there and impact from a midfield, he doesn't necessarily have to be like a 80% CBAs guy, but if he comes in, plays a little bit of midfield and can rotate forward and be a threat, like, that'll be where his draft range goes. But yeah, different player. Schubert and Marsh, definitely different types of players for sure. I think maybe Port did Houston trade. What's that in reference to, Joel? I'm trying to work out what that... Was that in relation to Gold Coast we were talking... No, who were we talking about? We looked at their draft position. Adelaide. Maybe. Decent draft hand, in my opinion. Probably mostly collateral for Stevens. Yeah, Gritty. I know you're a big fan of Mitch Stevens. We'll watch him soon. We will watch him soon for sure. Here goes South Australia again on transition. Sam Cumming loves the ball in space. Oh. Who is that? Oh, Allies were lucky to get that out then. They've got away with this, though. Is this Annabelle? Like, it's really interesting, and I don't mean this like in a deprecating way, but like talking about it with like Adensil and Annabelle, like here they go too, they're combining here. Like, Annabelle just doesn't look as nice on the eye. Like, I think in some ways potentially he's a more functional player than Adensil. He's got a few more like weapons. Like his stoppage craft is really good. He's a bit of a thicker body, so he can kind of take a little bit more physicality, and he's better in the air than Adensil. Oh, who got that? Taj. Okay, who said before? Who was that said in the comments? Top 10 Taj. Who said it? He's coming. That was pretty scary. That was pretty scary. Did anybody see that? Talk to me about Taj Murray, because he's been clunking marks, and then he's just put a little trickler through from the pocket. Pick the ball up off the ground too. Like, what the hell? Coaches panel here. If you could wave a magic wand and land any of this draft crop to land at your beloved Roos, who would it be and why? I love this question. This draft crop. Okay. No, this is a tough question because you're saying that for my Roos. Can I change this a little bit? Can I make this new Tassie team? I'm also Tasmanian. So I'll make this new Tassie team so I can take away the fact that North Melbourne have drafted a ton of midfielders in recent years. I think my favourite player in this draft crop is Sam Grill. I absolutely love him. He's so fast. He's so creative, explosive from stoppage. Like pretty much everything that you want the modern midfielder to be. Like he's a good size, 183. Heaps of upside. Like when he gets bulked up a little bit and even gets more power to his game, I think he's going to be more of a tackle breaker with that speed that he's got. So he's just like the purest, like most sort of attractive player, I think, of the midfield group, and one of the highest upside players as well. So he's the one. And Murray's just got on the end of another one here. This time he's done it in a different way again, and he's got separation. Maybe he's pushing for that top group. Maybe I've got him too far back. I don't think top 10, but he's looking pretty good here. He's dominating this game. Yeah, so Sam Grill. The other player that I love in the top 10 of the draft is Rory Wright. He is an absolute beast. Like, jump on YouTube at some point after this game and go to Footy Stuff, who does... Footy Stuff is a great YouTube content creator that clips up the little pieces of... pretty much does like some heavy lifting for people that follow the draft out there, because he clips up a certain player, the full game. So you get the entire cross-section of everything they did in the game. He clips up their individual plays in the game, tackles, even a little bit of off-the-ball stuff. Like, he does such a good job. Go and check out Rory Wright. I've seen him play 7-8 games of football this season, and a lot of them have been close games, and he's a moments guy. Like, he gets his 25 touches. He's got a laser left foot kick, so uses the ball really well. He's such a good decision maker, and he wills himself to get the ball in the big moments of games. And that's what's impressed me the most about him. He's not prototypically the player that I would get excited about. Like, he doesn't have awesome agility. He doesn't have super speed or anything like that. He's more of a combative contest player, but he stands out in the big moments. He goes, Schubert turns on a dime. Oh, Aiden Schubert. He and Taj Murray are really going at it at either end at the moment. Mitch Marsh, you'd have to throw him in there as well. I'll have a look at those goals now. So Murray's kicked 4, Mitch Marsh has kicked 4, Schubert's kicked 3. So those 3 players between them are really owning this game. The margin's back to 9 points with a goal from Murray. This is awesome stuff. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm starting to get behind with the comments a little bit here, aren't I? Joel Faulkner, King has been a bit of a Brett Burton about him. King has a bit of Brett Burton about him with the blonde hair. I rate that. And it's not... Oh. Who kicked that? Hamilton, another big goal for the Allies. They're coming hard at South Australia here. South Australia are just starting to look a little bit tired, and the quality for the Allies is shining through. Like, you're starting to see Adensil starting to link up in the midfield, use the ball really well. Taj Murray's kicking goals. Hamilton's kicking goals. Like, that's probably his second or third as well. Brett Burton. Yeah, it's not a perfect comparison for sure. Like, I don't know, did Brett Burton ever play in the midfield? He was an unreal player though, Brett Burton. Like, so athletic. Just could stand on people's heads, couldn't he? And like, probably like would have been one of those earlier sort of like third tall types, I suppose. I don't know how tall he was. I wasn't really paying that much attention to it back then, but yeah, he was awesome to watch. I like it. I like the shout. And there's a couple of Brett Burton lookalikes in the South Australian team too, with Harley Barker and Matt Leray with that sort of curly blonde hair. Here's Marsh again. Can't pick that one up. Looks dangerous, doesn't he, Mitch Marsh? 14 minutes gone in the third quarter, 3 points the margin. So I love this because this is where you get to see the players who kind of stand up in the big moments, I guess, because the game's starting to become a little bit more jeopardy in the game. And you kind of see who rises to the occasion, who shrinks. Ugh. Good mark. Is that Leray or Barker? That was Leray. Not a bad little kick. There's Kellaway, Cumming, Sharp. Ugh. Oh, he's got it out in front though. Is that Kelly? Has a ping. Just starting to feel a little bit for South Australia, like just more pressure on the ball. The Allies have lifted that definitely in the third quarter. As I say that, they get a turnover here, but just not having the same time and space to work in. What do we got here? Wonder if Max King, much like many of the Swans, needs to put on 5 to 10 kilograms of muscle and then would be an absolute beast. There's certainly an element of that. Like all of these guys are going to put on. I couldn't believe actually watching the likes of Harry Armstrong and Luke Traynor and these kind of guys, and even Sam Lawler. Like they put on, just from getting drafted, like to now, they put on so much muscle even in that time. And like I don't even reckon they did like at that age, I don't reckon they're doing like a really brutal preseason in the weights room. Patterson takes someone on. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's been legged. Okay, fair play. I'll try and bust through these. Will the AFL app have replays? It was on KO last year. That is correct, Braden. But if you remember, the games that were on KO were only games that Fox Sports were at. And I don't think there was like the Vic Metro Vic Country game. There was, I got a feeling it was the WA Vic Metro game. Like there were just a few. Definitely the double header that was Icon Park was on Fox Footy. But I don't think and again, probably a bit of Vic bias in this for sure. But I don't think they necessarily took the cameras out to Blacktown to film the games, which is a bit unfortunate. So they're not all on there. I wish they were, because it's great just to have that on your smart TV or your Hubble or whatever. And there's Piker. There's my boy Piker, who just kicked a goal too. I love him. Ollie Hannaford vibes. Tell me if you get the same. Maybe it's the haircut a little bit too, but similar types of forwards. 3, 2, 1. Who would you be leaning? That's a really good. I mean, you'd have to go tall forwards here at the moment, wouldn't you? You'd have to be looking at Marsh, Schubert, and Murray for sure. You'd have to be looking some of those midfield guys. I think Coulson's been really good, like particularly early. He was awesome. I think he's quietened down a little bit. I feel like I've liked, and again, sometimes when I watch these games, like I'm not necessarily going for the kind of like who is best on field. Like I watch things that they do more than the volume that they necessarily have across the whole game. But I think Cumming's been very good. He just got the ball then. But the Adensil Annabelle combination's been good. I've probably favoured Adensil in this game. Some of the halfback flankers for South Australia, I don't think he'd put them in. Like this guy's been good too, Jack Miller. He's been incredible. But let me know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd probably have those forwards right up the top. Patterson's had 15 touches. Annabelle's had 15 touches. Adensil's had 14. I've been more impressed with what Adensil's done, his decision making, just the situations that he's been in, being able to get the ball in tight and find someone. That's impressed me a lot. But you'd be probably saying that the forwards the key position forwards at the moment are shading it. There hasn't really been like a huge performance from like a small forward, has there? Piker's kicked 1. Harley Barker's kicked 2, not a small forward. He's probably been like the next, most dangerous after those key forwards though, as more of a tall winger. Adelaide Basketball has him at 6'6", which is 198, I believe. Yeah, good call, Kai. Like that's what I think he's more than 194. Sometimes the rookie me numbers, it's not that they're wrong, but they were taken at like under 16s or something, and he's like grown significantly since then. So, yeah, Callow did well there just to get himself in front. Here's Patterson getting on the ball. Have a run, mate. Don't just pass it. Don't take the good option. Good ball there from Adensil. He's running inside. He might get a... No. Oh, gee. Oh. Here's Kalani White. Bit of a flying shot from White there. He's had a quiet game, hasn't he, Kalani? I don't know what his numbers are. Let's have a look. How much balls he had? He's had 4 touches, 1 behind, 0 marks. So yeah, probably want a little bit more impact from Kalani, but it's difficult when you are like, I mean, probably most of the game he's played as a key defender, to be fair. So he's not going to be getting a lot of ball. Oh, look at the movement from Barker. And it was a great kick. I actually, when that came off the boot, I was like, oh, he's shanked that. I don't know if there was a little bit, an element of luck to that. Like the action didn't look great, but perfectly put it out in front of, who have we got here? That's not, Marsh is 26, isn't he? Yeah. Cameron Nan. Yeah, beautiful kick there. Gold Coast have Port and Collingwood's first, I believe. Thanks for that, Kai. Murray, that's unfair. Absolutely. That was that shot from the pocket. Get him in the top 5, says Charlie Smith. Yeah, get it. Just take him at pick 1. Sam Grill reminds me of Max Holmes, game breaker, says Barnes. 100%. The only thing with that Max Holmes comparison, I know that's been thrown around a little bit. I think absolutely Max Holmes just a little bit taller, a little bit better overhead. But I think some of the mercurial stuff that Grill does is actually even like above Max Holmes. And Cal Toomey said it on one of the Gettable episodes. I remember he said, like, I'd love to see what Max Holmes was doing. I have seen a few clips of Max Holmes in under 18s, and I don't think he had at that point, like he didn't have that same explosiveness. Like he would have had definitely some athletic traits, but he was sort of like a bit of a different type player. Like he was more outside. Definitely where Grill, like from the start of the season so far, like Grill's gone straight into the midfield. He wins clearances, so he can sort of get the ball from the inside, bring it to the out, or he can be that outside guy. So teams looking for that bit of punch, bit of energy in the midfield. Like he's going to be absolutely perfect for that. And he can kick goals as well. Here go the Allies. They're really starting to link up here. Oh, that was Miller again. Nearly won the one-on-one. Nearly took the one-handed mark. Oh, that could have been a free. Yeah, it is. Yeah, just clumsy tackle there from the South Australian defender. Hamilton again. So he's having a sneaky good game. I feel like he's done it in a bit of a different way, Hamilton. Like he hasn't sort of, dominated them aerially like a Schubert, for example. He's just popped up, hasn't he? Charlie Smith said, yeah, he's going number 1. Was that like, tell me, Charlie, was that like after he kicked the goal? Yeah, like he's going number 1. I love that. Yes, mate. Rory Wright, extremely under the radar. I think his contest work might be the best in the crop. Seen him in the flesh, and 100% his clutch factor is unreal. Mate, like, you don't have to tell me, like, any more about this guy. Like, he's just, like, he's phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal. And you've hit the nail on the head there. The contest work, I don't think it might be the best in this crop. Like, I think it just actually is the best in the crop. He's not afraid of anyone. He's not the biggest guy going around, but the way that he's able to just will himself to balls and his hands are so clean. He's also got the little crafty handballs and stuff to get other players into space too. So like out the back of the head, no problem. Here's a voice, can hit the target. Just a phenomenal footballer. This is going to sound outrageous. It always does. Everyone does like someone has Bont traits every draft. He has Bont traits. He's just shorter. He's 183 where Bont's 194. So he's not going to have give the opposition the same problems as Bont, say, when he goes forward. But he's really good overhead for his size. He's just a phenomenal footballer. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd almost think like if it got to it, I'd be happy. If you take away the academies and all of that sort of stuff, like I'd take him in like the top 3 in the draft. He's that good. I have this weird, unquestionable trust with him as well. I'm like, well, you're going to win the game for your team. Like whoever you're playing for, you're just going to win the game for them. So what more could you actually want than that at the end of the day? So a lot of this stuff is we talk about the skills and the execute, like, well, not the execution. We talk about the skills and the athleticism and stuff like that. But like Rory Wright's just got he's got the gift of the gab for sure. South Australia just like wrestling back a little bit here. They've got up by a goal. We're about 3 seconds away from 3/4 time, so we can do some more questions and stuff here. We got a good game though. 6 points, South Australia lead. Allies were able to close that gap a little bit in the third quarter and pretty much put themselves in striking distance for this last quarter. Player stat comparison on the board. Adensil, he had 16 disposals to Ainsworth's 12, 3 tackles to 2. Not exactly sure what the relevance of that stat comparison is, but it's on the board and that's why I read it. The Rory Wright one, 194 centimeters is what I saw, which is why I asked. Yeah, fair call, Braden. That's absolutely, and most of the time I use Rookie Me for the heights, but I always have this problem throughout the year, and I'll be looking at someone's height and I'm questioning it. I'm like, he looks taller than that. He definitely looks taller. Does he look taller or does he play taller? Like, what's going on there? So I have that all the time, and particularly, I think you see the most discrepancies with those key position players, like whether they did it in 16s and then we're just seeing it now. I don't know. Kai says Lockie Carmichael just casually getting some touches, not the greatest ball use. Carmichael up to 14 touches at 71%. Yeah, so like 71 for a halfback flanker. I mean, ultimately it comes down to what is the quality of kicks you're trying to take off there, doesn't it? When you're looking at pure disposal efficiency, like, are you making, you could have, you could be a Luke Ryan and you've always got high disposal efficiency and you just kick the shit out of the ball. Like, so I wouldn't necessarily be looking at the disposal efficiency, but Carmichael, I feel like Carmichael is what he is. Like, he's a genius at being able to find space and find the ball in the back half and then distribute. I think like there's limitations to his game. So like he's not going to be in that, like right in that upper echelon because he doesn't have that oomph factor, does he? Like he probably can't kick the ball 55 meters and hit a pass. He doesn't, when he does kick the ball, he's probably got even limitations on the different types of kicks that he can pull off. Like, you sort of want your halfback flankers to be able to get like hand to foot really quick. You want that sort of a kick. You want the kind of around the body kicks where they can hit the low one. They can sort of spray it out wide and those sorts of things. You just want like a vast array of kicks. You want them to be able to just have the depth as well so they can just gain meters if they have to go to a contest. Lockie Carmichael's maybe one that has, but like just limitations on that with the different types. And he's more of a limited player, but a very good player at the same time, a good footballing type. I probably see him as. Cakesy says, feeling the exact same way about him. We're talking Rory Wright there. So reliable. His floor is crazy. Yes. And moves like Bont. He does. He moves like Bont. They almost move identically. It's just Rory Wright's 10 centimetres shorter. Thomas Burton, a sneaky top 10 chance. His video versus NT last week is the most impressive game I've seen so far. Speed, smarts, and skill. I've been having this conversation with myself about Thomas Burton in the last couple of weeks. Like I've seen those clips. I know what you're talking about. I've got a couple of questions on him, but I like him a lot. I feel like Thomas Burton, if he was a small forward, I think he'd be talked about a lot higher at the moment. He's like 180, 179 maybe. He's like in that sort of getting a bit on the shorter side to say be a midfielder. That being said, like what actually is his height? Because if he's 180, it's fine. He can be a midfielder. But that's not necessarily the total point either, right? 178. That's right. So he's very small ball. They've got him playing halfback flank at the moment. There's no way that size, that type of player is suited to playing halfback flank. So first of all, I don't really know why they're doing that. I guess because they're not a great team, the Western Jets, so they get him in there and they can move the ball a little bit. They can get some control. It's probably a little bit to do with that. He comes in and plays midfield. He's a great footballer, great agility, great movement, great speed, everything that you just said. I sort of feel like all of the traits that he has, teams are looking for that in the front half of the ground. So he gives me a little bit of a vibe of Darcy Jones at GWS. Not quite the same high athleticism that Darcy Jones has, but maybe as well on some level with like his ball control and his little handballs and stuff like that he can do. His stoppage craft overall, like maybe he's got some upside on Darcy Jones there, but like I'd probably like to see him played as more of like a high forward / midfielder. And I think that would increase his draft range because anything that he does at half back, we need to see it somewhere. For me, we need to see it somewhere else. What else do we have? Yeah, Thomas Burton, we had that one. Max King on rookie me has been 191 ever since he was 15. I swear. Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe the Swans are hiding something, Kai. Maybe they just don't want it to get out how big he really is. Burton, 100% a chance, I reckon. A victim of the Western Jets curse. Never get the attention because the side's floor is so low. Yeah, like that's part of it. I don't know. Like, let me know what you think in the comments as well. But I feel like the position thing is a little bit on the Jets as well. They obviously want to show their players. And I mentioned you're right. Like, there's definitely that. I mean, if he was playing for the Sandringham Dragons, he's standing out a lot more, isn't he? Or the Oakley Chargers or whatever. So those like Western Jets is one of those teams. It's like they don't have the same representation of players. Like there's like different demographic, different community out there as well. So it's just harder for them to get good players. And then that obviously they just end up being a bit of a nothing team in that competition. I'd like to go and see him play a bit of school footy as well, actually, Thomas Burton. I'm not sure where he's playing. I've been watching the APS and he's not in that league. So that would be interesting as well. NRT has a great attack on the ball and seems like a Tom Atkins type that can set the tone at a club and also play on someone when needed. What are his expectations coming into the championships? That's Roberts Thompson we're talking about, I assume. Hang on. Yeah, interesting. I actually had him marked at the beginning of this stream to watch. Yeah, definitely a very highly skilled midfielder. I'm just going to bring up some of his attributes here. Roberts Thompson, 180 centimetre midfielder from Sturt. I haven't watched much of his like local footy or state footy. But he was good in that. Where are my stats gone? He was good in that trial game a couple of weeks ago. Really stood out playing in a midfield role. And he looks like a little bit similar to what I was saying before about Bo Adensil, where like smooth moving player. Here's Bo Adensil on cue. Like Bo Adensil just looks classy, doesn't he? And Roberts Thompson, I feel like he's a bit the same, where like they don't necessarily have anything that's better than the next player, like the guys around them. So they're just very calm, controlled, composed midfielders. But teams need, like AFL teams, when they're recruiting, they need more dynamism and bite around that. So it's like, yeah, you might be able to get one of those players, but you can't they can't all be at the top end of the draft because you need to get guys with different traits so you have that balance. But to answer your question about Noah Roberts Thompson, honestly, like I'd have to give you the honest answer there is that I don't know. Need to see more. Annibal's just starting to get off the chain a little bit here. The running ability is starting to hurt South Australia. He's probably going to get it again here. He's sort of like manning Sharp, gets it again, snaps. If he kicks this goal, he's got some penetration there too. Like when he finds a bit of space inside forward 50 Annabelle, like nightmare. He's up to 21 disposals. He is getting off the chain. 15 kicks, 6 handballs. See, that's surprising to me as well with Annabelle because I see him generally as more of a handballer. That's interesting. I'm going to go into some of the more advanced stats here as well. How are we doing for score involvements? Harrison Wilson is the top score involvement player, equal with Schubert, equal with Piker. Now, I like that with Piker. So most of his disposals are going on the scoreboard. What's he actually at for disposals, Piker? He wouldn't be particularly high, I imagine. Piker. 8 disposals, 7 score involvements for Piker. That's my Ollie Hannaford comparison. Jesus. That's actually incredible. That sort of thing excites me when I see something like that. 7 score involvements. Hannibal's becoming a serious problem. There's Miller off the snap. The Millinator. The Millinator is on. Great goal over the top there. That's his third. 14 disposals. He's had a clearance as well. Like, he's gone into centre bounce. He's looking pretty versatile. One of those guys, like, there'd probably be questions over his athleticism, I'd imagine. Jack Miller, that's sort of what I was thinking coming into this game. Mitch Marsh has had 7 score involvements. Hannibal's had 7, but like clearly like has had a lot more of the ball as well. Contested possession rate. That's what I wouldn't mind looking at here. So how many's Adensil had? Adensil's had about 20. He's about, 10 and 7. So 10 contested, 7 uncontested. Pretty nice balance. Coulson's 9 and 11. Interestingly, Hannibal, right? Hannibal's had 19 uncontested possessions and 3 contested possessions. That is so not in line with how I see him as a player. That is really interesting. So he's a transition player in this game. That's interesting. How are we seeing this game, guys? The Allies lead by a point. 4 minutes into the last quarter. South Australia on a bit of a tear. Here we go. It's my boy, Aiden Schubert. Looks like we could have a shoulder injury there. Ooh, that looks nasty. Cometh the man, though. Schubert has his chance to kick his 4th goal. I'll get back into the comments. Max King, we talked about that one. I don't know if anybody else in the comments has done live streaming. It's really, like, it's tricky to juggle the comments and what you're doing in the stream. And I've got it on my phone here. I've got some numbers in front of me, some notes. I've got the stream over here. It's all a bit full on. So apologies again for today. Like, for the stream, like, the start was a bit of a mess. So I'm glad we got it underway and we can kind of have this, pretty much watch the national champs together. That's sort of the idea behind this. It's an easier way, rather than just like with the regular videos, like, it's harder to like comment, get questions and then answer questions. So this is a way of like doing it all at once. Schubert kicks his 4th goal. He's had an incredible day out. And this game, including the trial game last week, is doing a lot for his chances. I think if he can have a consistent champs, he is going to be a big bolter. Carmichael will be that 30 to 35 range. It was like higher floor, lower ceiling. Totally agree with that, Kai. Patterson has some Sean Burgoyne about him, some sort of upright posture as well. Yeah, Joel, love that. 100%. I love getting into that too, like looking at how players, kind of like physiologically, like how they move, their posture, all of those sorts of things. Patterson looks like he's on the wing at the moment. Midfield rotation looks like pretty tight there. At the moment, SA get the clearance. Kellaway getting involved here now. Oh, I try to go out the back. They love that one now, don't they? Like the out the back one. It's hit and miss. Schubert's getting up pretty high here. I reckon he's got a pretty big tank on him. I haven't seen any numbers on his time trials or anything like that, but he looks pretty keen to get involved higher up the ground and then push back pretty hard to goal as well. Everything Essendon, my boy, Felix. What's going on, mate? Picked the wrong day to go golfing. Completely forgot this game was on. You should be able to watch it back on AFL.com. I hope they have, like, they should have in the news and videos part, they should have the stream at the end of the game. So you should be able to check it out. I'll definitely be trying to watch it back as well. Someone was talking before about Fox Footy. I don't think this game, I think some of the champs games will be on. Lockie Carmichael there, like, that's what I'm talking about though, Kai. Like, he can navigate space really well when he gets the ball like that. And it makes, when he does come out of the difficult situation, he doesn't have to pull off some outrageous kick or anything like that. Oh, Patterson step too. So you'll be able to watch the game back. That's what I'll be doing as well, just to get a bit more in-depth analysis on it. Who impressed you, Dylan? So there's been a few. The big Aiden Schubert. I mentioned him on the AFL stream last night that he's one I'll be watching out for, and he has delivered 4 goals. He's pretty much been involved in everything. I would say, personally, he has been the best player on the ground. That's maybe going to largely come down to who wins, which it probably shouldn't. But there's been a few. There's been Taj Murray, another key position forward for the Allies as well. He's kicked 4 goals. 200 centimetre guy. He's been sort of doing everything. Like he kicked the goal from the pocket, like a check side dribbler, picked the ball up off the ground and did that. And then he's taken some big clunks as well. So a lot of key position forwards doing it in different ways. You've had Mitch Marsh, who's probably one of South Australia's top prospects. He's a sort of a medium forward around the 190 centimetre mark. He's kicked 4 goals as well. And he's kind of been doing it more in like a hit up forward type of way, like he's got explosive pace off the mark, getting out in front of his defender and just sort of getting nice lead ups. But he's been good at ground level as well. The midfield battle's been interesting. South Australia were heavy. I haven't really checked the stats in the last few minutes, but South Australia were dominating clearances while the Allies were dominating field position, like getting more inside 50s. I don't feel like Dyson Sharp's been that big in this game. Like, I don't know what his numbers are off the top of my head, but I feel like the Allies have had the better of them in the midfield overall. Like guys like Annabelle, like Adensil, like Patterson coming off halfback as well to sort of assist in there. Like they've just had a little bit more, those mids have had a little bit more composure, I feel, to make the right decisions. Whereas South Australia have sort of had clearance, but a lot of it's been sloppier, I feel. Which sounds harsh on South Australia because they're 4 points up and they're about to have a shot at goal here. That's probably just how I've sort of seen it overall. Definitely the forward line has troubled the Allies for South Australia. I feel like they've had a heavier strike rate when they've gone in. Mitch Marsh and Schubert have been a massive headache. And like I said before, they're Piker, who I think he's only kicked the 1 goal, but 8 touches, 7 score involvements. Like that's the sort of, strike rate we're talking about here. Decent contested mark from Chamberlain in a quiet game for him. Yeah, he definitely hasn't stood out to me, Chamberlain. Definitely a watch, but hasn't stood out. 3 of the best in this game, Patterson, Annabelle and Adensil. Goddamn, these academies, get rid of them, says Barnes. Yeah, fair play. Like, it is a bit frustrating. I think, like, the overall... I want the academies to stay. I just think it's about paying fair price. Here's Coulson. He's looked really good on the ball as well. Definitely, there's a sameness about the Allies midfield, but it's very strong. Very composed players. Here's Carmichael starting to rack them up off half-back now. Here we go. I think that's Annabelle again. Like, see, Annabelle has a tendency to do that. Like, there's a slight lack of composure sometimes in certain situations for Annabelle. I feel like an Adensil there would have been a little bit more composed on the ball. Again, there's things that Annabelle does better than Adensil, but that's probably like just a window into the difference. Sharp can't go with Annabelle. Yeah, he can't run with him. I agree. What's he had now? 20 uncontested possessions, Annabelle. You kind of can't let a mid just go like that. It's a really great shout. Goodness me. Wow. Nankaro has done his... Oh, was that Nankaro? Damn, that's unfortunate. Annabelle really good at the stoppage there. Joel says, no apologies. This has made it that much more entertaining. AFFL should pay you to do this. Oh, thanks, mate. Appreciate that. I hope it's some value. Like, yeah, it's not... I haven't... not too much planning's gone into this, as I said, because I've been busy. But, like, I don't know. If we just sort of keep it casual, right? I'll chat about the game. I'll try to call a little bit of it, and you guys can kind of feed me questions. Just talk about the draft. I hope you guys like it. But, yeah. It's been a good game. I mean, we've still got about 12, 13 minutes to go in this game. Still a 5-point margin. So someone still has the opportunity here to be a hero, and that's what we love. Who do you think it's going to be? I've really liked Adensil's game. I feel like he could do something big. I feel like he's been on the bench maybe for a spell here, and he's about to come back on and do something. I really hope it's Piker, though. Like, Piker would be awesome. I'd love to see him do it. I think he's had a great game. But it could be our boy Schubert as well. There's so many. Sam Cumming, Harley Barker. I struggle with it with less on my main channel, but when I even stream with multiple people and 70 odd people watching, it gets crazy. You can fall 20, 30 minutes behind. Yeah, totally, Kai. Like it's definitely a skill. I want to get some more screens going so I can kind of, with the chats too. Like I want to be able to, because I'm doing it on my phone / like my laptop here. So it's kind of, you get a little bit distracted too doing it that way. So like it'd be nicer to have it on a screen. Are you going to stream any other of the under 18 state games? I absolutely am. This is, I guess, like we can kind of see this is a bit of a test stream, first game. I'm tossing up what to do about the Melbourne games because I kind of want to go. I get a lot out of going to the games from a talent ID perspective. So I think I will still go to the games that are played in Melbourne. But essentially every other game I'll stream. That's I've been talking to Pommy. We might do a couple of the streams together too for the interstate games. So I'll keep you posted on that. I'll try to keep it on my YouTube and let you know what's going on through Instagram and YouTube and that kind of thing as well. But definitely I'll either be at a game or I'll be streaming a game. I can promise you that. And potentially like if I feel like, well, if we together sort of feel like we're getting value out of the streams, if it's good stuff, then we'll probably, like we could even do like one of the Melbourne games as well for sure. I'll definitely watch it back, says Everything Essendon. Another great channel there. Go check out Kai's channel as well. Kai does a lot of fantasy content and I think Kai does some general AFL fantasy content as well. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Kai, but great stuff there, as well as Everything Essendon, a Bombers fan channel, the best in the business. Louis Kellaway thoughts. So I was wrapped with Kellaway's performance in the trial game. This game probably hasn't impressed me as much. I like his stoppage work. He's definitely gets involved at stoppage. He definitely has good movement, good flexibility, and that sort of lateral movement that you really want. Probably the thing I've noticeably is like a flaw in his game, I would say, is his kicking. For me, although like he can hit a pretty good pass, but at times he can bomb away a little bit. So that's where I'm at with him. Definitely need to see more in this national champs. I think he's been okay in this game. Remembering that he's up against a really tough midfield here in the Allies, like this is pretty star-studded. So I'd have sort of hoped that for South Australia's sake, Dyson Sharp would have probably given a bit more of a presence in at the midfield for and to be able to get those guys a little bit more involved and maybe sort of bully the smaller bodies in Adensil and Annabelle. Not that Annabelle's a small body, but in comparison to Dyson Sharp, I guess. If you want to get rid of the academies, you probably lose 80% of the players to other sports and probably lose another 10% of the top liners. I agree with you. 100%. I'm with you on this one, Kai. I think it's great for the game, and you do have to see the big picture. I think it's a pretty simple solution to me. It's just like make them pay. Why is it so difficult to make these clubs pay more? Make them to take your academy or your father's son. Make them have to earn it, if that makes any sense. Like make them have to pay for it and give them a decision to make. I think is the question. Or let's not have a draft. Let's just have full academies. I suppose that's another conversation as well, a different conversation. SA just looking to play a little bit of tempo here. Like, are they going into preservation mode with the 6-point lead? A little bit of uncontested footy. Leray goes inside forward 50. That was to Marsh. Marsh has probably, like for me, of those like three key forwards, he's probably gone out of the game the most in this, probably since halfway through the third quarter, I suppose. Whether that's just a change in defender on him. Maybe looks to be playing a little bit deeper. Who's got him there? Is that Jasper Hay that's got him? I think it might be. I think that might be Jasper Hay. Anyway. Do you watch Sandful? I watch a little bit in Vinci. I watch a little bit of Sandful footy. Particularly, like, I'll go through some of those. Like, I was big watching Woodville West Torrens because I was watching Jevon Philippou's early games. I really liked him. I've watched a bit of Central Districts for like Sharp. I think Matt Leray plays for them as well. But I'm not in the same way that I watch the Coates Talent League. And I do like to be at the games. Watching the games live gives me so much. It's so beneficial for me because I get to see what they're doing off the ball. I can see who their direct opponent. Like even in this game, watching this while doing the stream and stuff. Like I haven't really got a grip of the one-on-ones inside forward 50. You can kind of stand behind the goals, get like some elevation at the game, and you can see all of that stuff really well. Take notes and all of that kind of stuff, and kind of start to put your like matrix together to rank the players. So yeah, but to answer your question on the SANFL, not a heap, but a little bit, like just enough to know the players. But I'm not using it as like a primary source for the draft for sure. How's Barker going? Barker was very prolific early. He kicked 2 goals. And creating, like, he's a big outnumber creator with his run. So he did that. There was 2 moments where he like got off his opponent, he pushed forward, created an outnumber and kicked the goals. I feel the second half he's been a little bit quieter. I haven't noticed him as much. Great player though. It's turned into a bit of a slog here. Can the Allies kick 2 scores here in 5 minutes, remembering that there's no time on? So when the fight, there's basically 5.5 minutes to go pure here. If the ball goes out, if there's stoppages, they don't get the time back. Matt Leray, they've almost just chucked Matt Leray in at the stoppages here just to get his body on it. That's what Carmichael can do. That's his point of difference. The intercept marking. He reads the play so well. Dangerous kick into the center of the ground for the Allies. They're on here though. Oh, King. Wasn't a good kick to him, to be fair. Like he was kind of caught in that pocket. Probably not a bad result in the end if they get a boundary throw in here. The Allies haven't been able to win a stoppage for the last few minutes. Have they thrown in Leray again here to this stoppage? I can't see him. Sharp's there. Roberts Thompson's there as well. Oh, it's spilling around. Sharp's got the ball. He's tackled. It's hot here. 4.5 minutes to go. They've moved Schubert to defence. Oh, cheers for that, Joel. I didn't actually see that. Sharp gets it out. I thought I would have seen a lot more of that from Sharp. Good from Piker. They've just done a really good job. Like Marsh, he's got it off the chain. They're on here. This could be it. It is. Great work there. That was, again, I don't want to go too overboard on my guy, but Piker was really good in setting that goal up. He put the pressure on, forced the contest. That's why I get Ollie Hannaford vibes. He's just at it 100% of the time when he's on the field, Piker. I really like this guy. I don't know what his draft range is, but I just really like him. Unreal shoe from Marsh, 100%. And like, again, when he's marked the ball today, he's just got it in so much space. Like he must have, his first few steps must be so explosive that the other guy just can't go with him and just lets him go. Because he's just in unbelievable space. Cameron Nairn, I think he's kicked a couple as well. I'll get back into these stats. So yeah, Schubert, obviously, like as you said, Joel, he's moved back into defence. Still the 4 goals. Taj Murray, again, like all 3 of those guys, like Marsh, Murray, Schubert, have probably quietened down a little bit in probably the back end of the 3rd quarter. But I think this game is over now. 3 minutes, SA by 12 points. They've done a number on the Allies. And this hurts the Allies, like overall, because these games, there's no grand final or final series. It's just every game matters in your overall championships. Like you've got to win the most amount of games. So a big thorn for the Allies. Tough for them, the fact that they don't get together as much, of course, but great win for South Australia. I don't think there was too much expectation on them here. Oh, they've got one. Who's got that? Corrigan. He showed a little bit in this game. Like I don't reckon he's got big numbers, Corrigan, but where is he? I feel like he's had like a night, like he's a big boy, And a couple of times he's just got on his bike and he's got some speed. Corrigan, he's had 17 touches. Yeah, he's been good. Kicked that goal. He's impressed me. Two minutes. They could do this. I said it was over. It's not over. Leray on Patterson on the wing. I think that might be... Is that Taj Murray in the ruck? Yep, it is. Here we go. Coulson wins it. Sharp, but South Australia get it back. Sharp was good in there with his hands. They're going to have to go coast to coast. Schubert there. So he's gone forward again. Schubert back in the forward line. He was good in that contest as well. Who are we looking for here? We're looking for maybe like a Sam Cumming. Oh, I've just seen him come through the stoppage there. Oh, my boy, Piker. That's the sort of thing he does, but he probably should have kicked the goal. But that's the game, isn't it? Because they'll have to kick two now. Oh, Patterson, good movement, but great win here for South Australia. Kai says quick goal back. Yeah, 100%. So if they had won that centre clearance just back 30 seconds ago, when it went back after that goal from Corrigan, they were a serious shout, the Allies. But then that point from, his Piker again. Like, I love this guy. I absolutely love this guy. Is anybody else feeling the vibes of Piker that I am? I reckon he is one of those small forwards that you just want to have in the team. A little bit of Lockie Schultz about him. He's just at it all the time. Physical beast. Good athleticism. Oh, gee, Cumming looked nice coming out of that stoppage too. Here's Schubert again. Probably just about being best on ground, Schubert. There it is. There is the siren. So South Australia get on the board. They win this one in the end by 7 points. I mean, overall, we're not like too concerned about, like for me anyway, like I don't care who wins the national championships, but these games are massive for the players. The players care a lot, like deeply about winning these games for their state, and they're big in the draft picture. So they're important. The players want to play well, and that means when you get these close games, there are moments that you have to look at. So let's look at some of the accumulator type midfielders just to have a look at their numbers. Daniel Annabelle had 26 disposals. Kobe Coulson had 25. Patterson had 23, more off a halfback flank. And Lockie Carmichael, 21 off a halfback flank. So that's the 4 top possession getters on the ground. So I suppose that shows you a little bit that the ball was in their back half a bit, with the players like Patterson and Carmichael getting big numbers. But they also like to share it around there quite a bit as well. Candy had 21. He was the top disposal getter for SA. And Jim Kelly was the top for the second top for South Australia, with 20 disposals as well. So didn't notice, I wouldn't have called that just from the eye test. Harrison Wilson had 19 for the Allies. Sharp had 17. I'll go into some deeper stats just to have a look. The goals first, though. Schubert kick 4, Taj Murray kick 4, Mitch Marsh kick 4. Miller 3, had a really good game. Riley Hamilton kick 3, was probably understated, I would say, was Hamilton. Like he hit the scoreboard without probably having any moments where you went, oh my God, that was incredible. But, very accomplished up there for sure. Harley Barker kicked 2, Piker kicked 1, Nan kicked 1, and Corrigan kicked 1, who we just talked about because he kicked that goal at the end, but he showed some real dynamism at times, I think, with the ball. Like his run, his explosiveness, and his size really stood out. He looked like he had some strength to him as well. Hitouts, Sam Ainsworth from South Australia got on top there. He had 20 hitouts. Taj Murray had 15. I think I had a different ruckman down for South Australia, to be honest, on my sheet. No, I did have Ainsworth, sorry. Forget that. Taj Murray had 15. Isaac Waller had 11. So he was the other one doing the duties there most of the time for the Allies. I mean, they're in a weird spot, the Allies, because you've got Murray, you've got Waller, you've got Kalani, and then they've got Houston as well, who also had a hit out there. So they've got kind of a lot of options in those like tall, versatile players. As far as clearances are concerned, Adensil was the top clearance getter with 7. And I said it earlier in the stream, like a little bit surprised by the fact that Annabelle wasn't that guy. I probably see him as more of the first receive guy. So not first receive, first hands. And then Adensil probably being a receive guy. And then you start to get Patterson into the chain. Those types of players. Coulson can be there as a receive player as well. But Adensil was kind of the guy getting his hands on the ball. Whether that was because there was a bit of a advantage in the hit outs there to South Australia and he was just more proactive at stoppage. Ainsworth got 6 clearances himself as the ruck. Dyson Sharp had 5. Blake Odeshawn Benefer had 4. He was pretty solid in this game. Definitely keen to see more of him in the champs. Candy had 4 as well. And Patterson had 3. Strangely, Annabelle just the 2 clearances in this game. So not what I would have expected from him overall. I want to go into some of these advanced stats. I should have done like a My Stats and created a custom one really so I could see it all. But score involvements, Mitch Marsh had 9. Aiden Schubert had 8. So that, they were right up there really. And if you're talking about this, a good gritty win for South Australia, largely those 2 players were, I feel the difference because if they didn't have those forwards ahead of the ball that they actually got in wouldn't have really mattered. They were so clinical. They were able to take their opportunities, but also take their opportunities as far as like taking contested marks, getting into space. Roberts Thompson, he had 7 score involvements. Piker had 7. Matt Leray had 7. And I think he was really important late in that game, particularly at some of the big stoppages there where he was able to just use his frame to kind of be a bit of a battering ram, get in the way. Really impressive there from Matt Leray. Again, he's a tricky one to kind of have a look at his draft range. Schubert took the most contested marks, not surprised at all, with 3. Max King was next with 2, and Chamberlain took a couple as well. Intercepts. So Grady Turner, he had 6 intercepts. I didn't call his name much. He's definitely one of those defenders that I'm going to have to go back and have a bit more of a look at. Candy had 6. Duffield had 5. Carmichael had 5 as well. So some of the ones there that you would, largely expect. I want to have just a quick look at the disposal efficiency to kind of juxtapose it next to position. But Blake Oddshawn Benefer, he went at 100% disposal efficiency. I'll definitely be looking at that and sort of seeing the areas where he got the ball and how he sort of used it and how much risk I suppose he took to go at 100% will be interesting. Patterson went at 82.6, which is really good. Adensil at 82.4. Doesn't surprise me with Adensil. I just think he was really, really calm in this game. Again, like it doesn't necessarily take off the most risky things, but he seems to always make decisions. Can go slow if he needs to, can go fast when he needs to as well. I'll jump back into the, last thing I want to do, just contested possession rate stuff. So I mentioned, where did Annabelle end up? Annabelle went in the end, and I feel like this was almost like strategic. Like he obviously got off Dyson Sharp a lot, 23 uncontested to 4 contested. So he just hurt him on the outside, didn't he? That's really interesting. Carmichael, 16 uncontested off halfback. Not surprising. Patterson, 15 uncontested. And Coulson had a pretty good uncontested rate there, 15 to 10. So he's definitely, like in this game, Adensil was the guy on the inside for the Allies, doing a lot of the heavy lifting, getting it out to these guys for sure. So that is interesting. And I'm definitely keen to go back over these games. An idea I've had for improving the draft, this is Dead Me 3, improving the draft bids, make them need to trade with a team bidding. So it goes as normal points, etc. The bidder gets the pick after, but they also need to trade a pick. Okay. Just break that down for me a little bit more. Hang on. So it goes as normal points. So we don't change the points, but the bidder gets the pick. Well, that happens anyway, doesn't it? Because they're on the board. They get the pick after, but they also need to trade. So the team that gets bid on needs to trade a pick as well. Like as in trade their next pick. Is that maybe, or they need to do some sort of a pick swap? Just explain that out to me as if I'm stupid. Dead Me 3. Unreal shoe from Marsh. Yes, quick goal back. Great game. Thanks a lot from Joel. Thank you, Joel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody watching this game. Again, I apologize for the start of the stream. Bit of a mess there, but we'll get it better for the next ones. We'll be, as I said, any game outside of Victoria, I'll be streaming here, whether that's with Pommy or Hayden or someone like that. We'll get a stream for you guys. Patterson, All-Australian halfback flanker. I loved a few of his moments late as well. Yeah, 100%. Like he's such a smooth mover. I think he could play anywhere. This guy could play anywhere. He could play mid. He could play on the wing. He could play as a small forward as well. I could see him sort of being like an Isaac Rankin type small forward as well. So much potential with him. Thoughts on Louis Kellaway's game? Yeah, he was solid in this game. He was better in the trial game for sure. Like I said, I feel like sometimes his disposal lets him down, Louis Kellaway, but I like his movement around stoppage. I think he gives them something different in there, and I think he'll get drafted. How high is a different question. We probably need to see a little bit more. Who do you think will win the champs? Honestly, who do I think will win the champs? I think Vic Metro will win the champs. That's probably not what people want to hear so much, because it's like it's very standard. I think Vic Metro will win the champs. Like, their team maybe doesn't look as stacked as some other years, but like their midfield's still going to be, it's going to be Greaves, it's going to be Greal, it's going to be Rory Wright. Like they're not going to lose many midfield battles, I wouldn't have thought. They've got the key position players in Archie Ludovic. They've got, I'm trying to think of the small forwards down there. Ricky Theodopoulos didn't make the team in the end. Small forwards would be Gresham, Hussein El Ashkar. Swade's going to go midfield forward as well. They've got pretty good key defenders as well, and pretty good running defenders as well. It's not as strong as the last year's team, but I don't think, say, like the country team's as strong either. I could see like an Allies knocking them off in a one-off game, but I think overall Vic Metro will still win the champs for sure. I think just take away the discount completely. You should have access to these players, but shouldn't be able to get them for less. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that, Felix. Like, just make that. I mean, there's little things you can do. Like I reckon what Dead Me 3 was saying is potentially an idea. Like I didn't fully get the exactly the mechanisms, but yeah, like working out something essentially. So you're not getting them for such a discounted rate. And we talked about it on the stream a little bit last night in the AFL game, but we're kind of saying you're probably like, if you're a Brisbane and you've just won a premiership and you get to the draft and you get a Levi Ashcroft, like, okay, fair enough. We keep the father-son rule. You take Levi Ashcroft, but you probably should have to give up something in the next draft. If you get you shouldn't be able to also take, you shouldn't be able to take pick 5 in the draft like they did with Ashcroft, then also get their academy player, or like you get your academy player and your father-son, but then like, that almost means in the next draft, you don't enter it until like the top 50 or something. You know what I mean? Like you pretty much have to forfeit that draft because of what you've received. So it will then make teams go, okay, do we really want to take this player? And it kind of puts it back on them a little bit to say like, you know, you've got this incredible gift, but like you have to decide whether to take it. Now it's easy to say, we'll take it. Of course we'll take it. Make them make the decision. That Vic Metro forward line looks pretty epic too. I totally agree, Felix. So I mentioned a few of the names. Ludovic. I'm trying to think of the other tall. Who's the other tall? There's somebody else big that I can't think who it is. Oh, Louis Emmett's going to be there. I really like Louis Emmett actually. Really competitive sort of ruck forward. He's going to be a handful. And I feel like there's somebody else I'm missing that's a big name player. Who have like the Cannons? Have the Cannons got... Oh, Cooper Duff Tytler's going to be playing forward at times as well. Jesus. He'll play ruck. Probably mix that up with Louis Emmett, and like the other one will be resting forward. Yeah, like they're going to be good. They're going to be good for sure. I think they'll win the champs. Looking forward to seeing Cody Walker for country. Absolutely. He's been awesome. I tend to not talk as much about bottom ages just because I'm more focusing on the draft, but his season's been incredible. I watched him in like firsthand against, what was he doing? He was playing for Vic Country in the trial game, like back earlier in the year, and he was super impressive in that already. Like he's got that blend. Like he's an absolute ripper. Like he's got the blend of athleticism and footy smarts and stoppage craft and all that sort of stuff. Got it all really. So he's exciting. Let the club with the pick bid back to drive up the price. Alternatively, make the bidding the fallback, and you have to pay a premium if you can't get a trade in to get ahead. For sure. For sure. Absolutely. And everything Essendon Felix says CDT. 100%. Guys, I'm going to wrap this stream up after what was a pretty entertaining game there to kick things off, the Allies in South Australia. That's 2 years in a row. They have given us an awesome game. I'm excited for the national champs in general. Like this kind of, this is going to sound really sad, but the champs kind of makes my year. It's the most fun as a draft content creator. I just find it interesting. Like, I find the draft fascinating in general, how teams assess talent ID. So this is going to be awesome. The next few weeks is going to be great. I'm going to try to put out as much content as I possibly can around this. And let me know too, like in comments and on Instagram and stuff, let me know what kind of content you want to see, and I'll try to get that into practice. But other than that, I will wrap up the stream. I've just got to find the link in my computer here it's been a day, guys. Like, it's absolutely been a day. So I'll try to wrap this up when I can. Thanks again for watching to everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next one.